Patricia. My name's Patricia, and I'm an employment advisor for the CTP, which is the Careers Transition Partnership contracted by the Ministry of Defence.
My name's Nicola. I work as a marketing manager for a tech startup doing social media management.
My name's Mohammed Qasim. I'm a solicitor.
My name's Jeremy. I work as a consultant in London.
I would describe a gender pay gap where there's an inequality in the amount that a male is paid as opposed to a female. I guess, to summarise it, whereby a male is paid more in the workplace to do maybe the exact same job as a female. It tends to happen a lot in organisations, corporations. And it's something I think that we're waking up a lot more to today.
I do, yes. The gender pay gap is essentially all across the world. Women are paid on average less than men in a range of professions, and it kind of,
Employment tribunal, where there are cases where the female will say she's paid less than a counterpart who does exactly the same job. So it does exist.
I'm aware that it exists, yeah. I know that potentially men earn more than women in general.
Definitely, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a lot within workplaces. I've even experienced it myself in previous employment, whereby I was paid to do the exact same job as somebody who months before had done the exact same job, and yet they were paid about £2,000 more than myself. So yeah, I've definitely experienced it, and hence why I no longer work for that organisation. But yes.
Personally, I've never experienced it, as far as I'm aware, and people I know personally haven't told me they have. But one of the cases that really shocked me that came out this year, the Netflix series The Crown, which is obviously about Queen Elizabeth's life, Claire Foy, the female lead who's playing the Queen of England, got paid less than her male co-star, Matt Smith, who was playing her husband. So I think that really puts it into stark contrast that even in kind of Hollywood level, that's the disparity. So I dread to think how bad it is in lower paid jobs and in people who are not famous as well. So.
In my line of work, within my company, no, I think we pay women equally, yeah, in comparison to men.
I think it's somewhat historical and systemic. Throughout history, men often went into the labour market and women were seen as staying at home. And I think, in the 21st century today, we see women doing roles, if not exactly the same as men, similar. Women are having children later on in life. But at the same time, I think employers use the fact that females choose at some point in their lives to have children, and I think they use the lower pay gap as a way of bartering that. But it's systemically done, or has been done behind the scenes, and as I said, I think women now are waking up to that as we see more laws changing whereby males and females now have paternity rights. So it, I think, gives women more of a tool to barter with, to say, well, actually, I'm prepared to forego some of my parental leave, so why not pay me more? But I do think women having children has a lot to do with it. I might be wrong, but I think that that's what has somewhat sown the seed over the years. Employers tend to assume that a woman is going to go off and have a child. I myself don't have children yet, and I'm considered someone who later in life will probably have children. And so I think that assumption often leads the decision to pay a woman far less than a man who would be deemed to be in the workplace, and yet if he has children he'll still maintain his contract at work and there'll be no interruptions to his contract.
There's lots of factors. Firstly, women really only entered the kind of labour market in recent years, really. Before then they were kind of stay-at-home mums traditionally, and it has only been in the last century or so that kind of the working female has come about. So naturally there will be a lag. Secondly, I think motherhood is a huge thing. Women might not get promoted because they are expected to leave work to start families and have children, which again is a huge factor. I think a lot of companies might not promote women on the basis that they might get pregnant. So yeah, they're two big ones, I think.
Historic, I think, because the women haven't always been seen as equals historically where pay is concerned. They're probably also has something to do with females, well-qualified females, who reach a certain age and they have the childbearing age, they have children, they take time out. So that can be an impediment to them rising in the ranks and earning the same level of money.
I think it's just maybe a cultural thing, especially in the UK. I think some industries, some sectors, it still exists. In others, maybe in mine, it's better.
I think the truth is, we as women we give a lot. I think the fact that yes, we need them. If you have children, you need maternity leave because physically as well, your body needs that time as well. And I think in the UK we work a lot of hours. I think in Europe in general we work a lot of hours, and so I think it's about employers finding a way to acknowledge that yes, females might go off and have children, but if a female has the credentials and she's able to do the job and she's the best person for the job, then pay her for the job, pay her what you would a male, because the same conditions of contract are applicable to both anyway. So, you know, it's without, there's no other way to summarise it. It's discrimination if you pay somebody lower because of their gender, you know, or their race or for any reason, but yet they meet the same credentials, then I think that's wrong. It's discrimination, and I think the solution to it is to use the law, if need be, to enforce it, equal pay.
It's a huge issue. I don't think it can be solved quickly, but the first step would be making people aware of it. I think most of the general public would be shocked to hear the statistics of the gender pay gap. So the first thing is the BBC this year made all companies declare their salary for gender. So I think that's a good first step to make people aware of it, to kind of see the statistics. And then it really just takes employers and people in power to make the change.
Well, there is legislation in place already, and if someone is being paid less than their counterpart, then they can take advantage of that. That's why they've been introduced, because you have all this legislation, people don't use it. It's there for a reason. The legislation is there for the gender pay gap. There's legislation similarly for the minimum wage. There are a lot of employers who don't pay the minimum wage. Some really well-known household names don't pay it. It's only when they get caught out or when there's some whistleblowing by somebody inside the company that they're made to compensate.
Maybe more openness on wages, maybe in terms of within companies saying what other people earn, but that's quite a tricky situation to deal with. Like in my company, nobody knows what other people earn, so it's difficult.